Tien from Dragon Ball Z would absolutely dominate in bodybuilding, and in this video I'm going to show you why. A lot of times when we think about Dragon Ball Z characters, we obviously think of the GOAT Goku, we might think of Vegeta, we might think of, Frieza or any of these other characters, or maybe even if you're thinking about muscle-wise, you're thinking of Master Roshi when he gets in his big form, or even Broly, especially Broly. But one character that kind of always goes to the wayside when I'm thinking about his athletic prowess or how much muscle he has is Tien, or Tien Han. This guy is absolutely massive, and I actually believe that he's one of the best built characters in all of Dragon Ball, and in this video I want to show you why. This guy is absolutely ripped, and I think he goes under the radar because he just doesn't get as much screen time as some of the other characters. But I'll show you why this guy has one of my favorite physiques. Well, first of all, we have to kind of define what a bodybuilder is. A bodybuilder is someone that builds up their body to be the shape of almost like the perfect human proportions, or maybe the perfect Greek proportions of a Greek statue, a Greek god, something like that. And so what they do is they build up the muscle mass, they work on their symmetry, they tone down to be really well conditioned, and I think Tien actually has all of that. Now, is he absolutely massive in terms of size like someone like Broly? No, so therefore I wouldn't place him in something like the open division. And to give you an idea of like an open division bodybuilder, we can look at none other than Big Ramy. If you're a bodybuilder and your name has big in it, like Big Ramy, you're gonna be really big. This guy was like on stage around 300 or so pounds. Like you could just see, to me, one of the most massive parts of his physique was his quads. Like look at this, looks like absolutely insane how they just stick out, in his hamstrings as well, his glutes. He had the craziest legs, especially from the side. It was absolutely amazing. And then from the front, we could see even his quads look just absolutely crazy. I think he has some of the best legs in the history of open bodybuilding. But you could see what I'm talking about. This guy has kind of that Broly-esque physique where he's just absolutely massive. Right? Now, if we go down a category, now I kind of divide the categories into sizes. You kind of have open, bodybuilding at the top, the biggest of the big guys. Then you kind of have the classic physique division. It's a newer division in which we kind of strive to get that ideal look from the 70s and early 80s, that kind of look, and that's kind of where Tien's gonna be. And then under that, of course, you'd have like men's physique, who are basically just as big as classic physique nowadays, but they wear board shorts, so their legs don't quite matter as much. But a good example of a classic physique division guy would be Ramon Dino. This guy has a beautiful physique, and he's a crowd and audience favorite. He always competes against people like Chris Bumstead, and he just has, you could see the difference between him and like Big Ramy. He's not as big, he's got more of an aesthetic style to his physique, almost like a Greek statue picture-esque, a really small and slim waist. Now this is the category that I would put Tien in. Now when looking at Tien's stats on Fandom, we see that he's 6'2", 165 pounds. Now I'll tell you right now, if that's actually his size, he would be way too small to actually compete in bodybuilding. Even at the smallest divisions, he would be more like a men's model, fitness model or something like that. But if he's actually 6'2", that puts him in a pretty good division. He would be right up there in terms of height as far as Chris Bumstead. And the way he fills out his frame, I would actually put him at more like 230, 240, somewhere around there. Now, we take a look at him, he does fill out his frame. He's just so massive, and he's got a really full physique. And what I mean by that is like all of his muscle bellies look like they're kind of maxed out to a degree. Like his chest is like, I can't imagine his chest getting bigger than this. Like his lat, I can't imagine his lat getting bigger than that, right? And on top of that, he's got a really small and narrow waist, right? Like it's not like it pops out as well. So it gives him that aesthetic kind of feel to his physique. He has really wide shoulders, so they go really far across, and that actually helps with having a more V-taper like physique. Now, when you're thinking about building your own physique, one thing that can give you more of a V-taper physique, not just losing body fat and having a small waist, but also building up the shoulders to make them wide and building up the lats to make them wide as well. So like if you want to have kind of that V-taper bodybuilding-esque physique, kind of take notes after Tien and get kind of like those wide shoulders. Now some of this depends on genetics as well, of course. Like he's got a really wide chest as well. You see some Mr. Olympias that have that good V-taper and stuff, like Phil Heath, but they had really short clavicles, so they don't have that wideness to their shoulders. And that's totally fine. Obviously it worked for him. He's one of the best bodybuilders to ever do it. But with Tien, he's just got such an amazing amount of muscle mass, all over his physique. It's really, really impressive, even when he's just like standing here. Now, of course, it depends on which version. We're not looking at the Dragon Ball version. We're not even looking at Dragon Ball Super version. In fact, I honestly haven't really watched that much Dragon Ball Super. I don't know what Tien looks like in it. You know what? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see what he looks like. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is what I expected. This is kind of a trend with Dragon Ball these days, is like, he goes from this to this. Like, okay, so I'm looking at Tien based on his biggest form, which I believe is in Dragon Ball Z, specifically probably in the Cell Saga, I would imagine. I don't know for sure, but he was pretty damn ripped in that saga. So yeah, this guy is absolutely massive. So the reason that he would dominate in bodybuilding is twofold. It's because not only does he have that the wideness to his shoulders, so he has really good genetics. So he has that width to his shoulders, but he also has that small and narrow waist, giving him that exaggerated frame, giving him that V taper. So that's one reason. He has just perfect genetics in terms of like a classic physique bodybuilder. Now you might be able to put him in like a men's physique division as well. He might be just a bit too big for that, but you know what? It also might be a good division because we never really see his legs. He's always got his legs covered up. So potentially that could work out for him as well. But I think because he has so much muscle mass for his frame, he would do really, really well in the classic physique division. And I think he would do so well that he could probably compete at the Mr. Olympia level against people like Chris Bumstead or Ramon Dino. And on top of his genetics, his frame, he's absolutely ripped. He's got veins, he's got feathering, he's got muscularity, he's got all those key words that it takes to be a really good dominant bodybuilder. So that is why Tien would dominate in bodybuilding. What do you guys think about him? Let me know in the comments below, and who should I review next? Let me know that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video.